I'll tell you a story about, and it's called Hembal Salve, and it was collected by Vaughn Ward, who's a wonderful folklorist, and she has it in one of her books, which is called Harvey Carr, Harvey Carr, Harvey Carr. Well, you know, in the old days, they didn't have a drugstore on every corner. In fact, a lot of small towns didn't have any kind of a drugstore at all. So people made their own medicaments and lotions and potions. My mother used to make poultices. She'd take some used cloth of some sort, and she'd make a mixture of flour and lard, and then she'd put in some kind of an irritant, like hot mustard or ground ginger or something like that. And then she'd put it between those two pieces of cloth and slap it on whatever hurt. And you'd pretend that you were well because you didn't want that anywhere near you. And so people thought that the poultices were doing the work. But actually, whoo-wee. And my father-in-law was a country doctor, and he was famous for a cough syrup that he made on the kitchen stove. He had a special pot for it, and he put in all the different things, and he'd stir it with a stick, and he called it croupies. And people would come, even after he retired, people would knock on the door and say, "Can I get some of that croupies?" Well, Harvey Carr, up in the mountains, decided that he wanted some salve. Now, if he lived down in the city, he probably would have bought the salve from a Boy Scout who was selling cloverine salve in a little tin container, and they came door to door to door to sell the cloverine salve. But he was up in the mountains and he was on his own. So he had a bucket and he went out in the woods and he got the inside bark of a hemlock tree. And then he saw a stand of balsam, and they each had globules. They were sticky and they were fragrant. So he took a bunch of those globules and put it in a bucket with the bark that he already had in there, and then he put in some herbs and stuff, and he took it home and he put it on the stove, put water in and some spices, and he had a sturdy stick, and he put it on the back burner and let it cook gently for 2 or 3 days, and he'd give it a stir every now and then. And then when he pronounced it ready, he put it in a crock. Well, he went out to chop his wood, and he's going with an axe, and it went right into his leg, and oh, it hurt like a son of a gun. Oh, and he went in, and he got some of the Hembal salve, hem from hemlock and ball from balsam, and he put it on there and rubbed it. Instantaneous cure. Well, he was using it for everything that was broken, from broken wood things, to broken windows, to broken bones, all kinds of things. He just thought that was wonderful stuff. So that, it was, well, getting along in the fall, and a time to get his wood in for the winter, and he's out there chopping and chopping and chopping, and his dog came along, Spot. And Spot thought it was some new kind of a game, and he's running around, and Harvey's chopping and chopping. He said, "Get out, Spot, get, you're going to get hurt, get." He chopped down and chopped Spot's tail right off. Oh, Harvey cried. Oh, he wouldn't have hurt that dog for the world. He loved Spot so. And Spot was yelping and yelling, and so Harvey picked him up, carried him in the house, and laid him on the kitchen table, and went and got some of that Hembal salve and put it on the stump, and he rubbed and he rubbed and he rubbed and he rubbed and he rubbed, and he'd rubbed a new tail. It was a beautiful tail, came right up over the back of Spot. Oh, he never looked better. Well, the winter came, and it was a long, hard winter, the way winters are apt to be up in the North Country. And at the first sign of spring, Harvey went out to clean up the mess in the yard. He had wood chips and sawdust and all kinds of stuff. And he had his broom, and he's sweeping and sweeping and sweeping. And he looked down and he saw something, and he couldn't figure out what it was. It looked like something from maybe an animal. Or he kicked at it and he kicked at it, and he looked again, and he finally kicked at it, got it up out of the frost. it was what was left of Spot's tail. So he brought it in the house and he laid it on the table. And he got the Hembal salve and he rubbed it and he rubbed it and he rubbed it and he turned it over and he rubbed it and he rubbed it and he rubbed it. And he rubbed a new dog. And it was a beautiful dog, just as good looking as Spot and just as nice a dog. Oh.